is going on? My name is Akasan.
Hey, it's Marta.
Here we go. Shinzo Sasageo. Let's get it on. It has been a while. Shingeki no Kyojin, Attack on Titan, Chapter 60. Here we are. Finally, the final season. Oh my god.
No.
To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. I don't even. Has it been 2 years or less than that? At least a year.
Of actual production, because we got to count that they were on hiatus for freaking ever, making a stupid
Correct.
movie that doesn't even count with the series. Wasted all of this precious animation time for the show.
Oh wow.
So, which version are you referring to? What time frame are you referring to?
Season 3 feels like it's been more than a year ago because it's been a while. The second half of season 3, yeah.
Yeah, so season 3 was broken up into 2 parts. The first part, I believe, was in 2018. And then the second part was in 2019, I think like summerish, summer, fall. Okay. I could be wrong because I don't remember watching it in the winter. I definitely remember watching it in, I don't know, during better weather, spring, summer, at some point like that. Or maybe it's between, or maybe like January, February-ish. I'm not sure. I just know it was last year.
Honestly, it's really weird because I remember season 3 getting a hell of a lot of promotion everywhere in Japan. Obviously, for those that aren't familiar, I live in Tokyo, and I was kind of surprised that it wasn't until a commenter, a fan, mentioned on one of my other videos about Shingeki starting again. I'm like, oh god, that starts next in like tomorrow for me. And so, because there's like literal no promotion this time around. Compared to season 3, where it was in newspapers, it was on TV and everything, there's just nothing. But I think that also has a lot to do with the corona world that we live in, is the fact that nobody wants to spend a lot of money on advertising because a lot of us are still working from home and doing less traveling. So I kind of understand that as well, but it wasn't trending on Twitter or anything. So
I only found out from your YouTube post. It totally slipped my mind because I remember when I was in Tokyo last year in the spring, I remember seeing in Shibuya behind some glass of this building, this huge the Colossal Titan space there, and I was like, wow, that's so cool.
They usually have things.
So I'm really surprised.
I think it really has a lot more to do with just the amount of spending and advertising, and there's really no point to advertise as much anymore physically, just because there's less people walking around and less eyes on things. But I just would have assumed at least online or some sort of promotional stuff. But
I didn't even see anything online. Nothing on Facebook. Like, I follow Crunchyroll on Facebook. I don't follow Attack on Titan. I follow Food Wars, but I should have followed Attack on Titan. Sorry, sorry.
But what I will say is, the other thing to keep in mind is that this week was also the final chapter of Demon Slayer as well in Japan. The Tankobon came out, and so that's it. So the biggest talk of the town this week has by far been Kimetsu no Yaiba, which the final, I was at a Bonenkai, which is at the end of the year party, a traditional Japanese end of the year party with a bunch of women. It was like 9-something women I was at this party with. I was the only guy. But the funny thing is, the table I was at, every girl, once they sat down, they popped out their Demon Slayer manga, and they hadn't finished the chapter yet, and they were like, hold on, I can't talk until I finish. I need to know what happens. And so
those are awesome chicks. Those chicks are awesome.
I was very surprised, but see, I don't read the manga, so I really couldn't have that. I couldn't have that discussion until the anime comes out, which is kind of where we're at right now with Attack on Titan, because the manga has it's somewhat concluded, but it has yet to get to the point where it's completely done. But from what I've heard and from what I've read, without spoiling, they said that it's pretty much completed. Like it's already toward its end. The Great War is finished, and it's pretty much just
they're tying the ends of different stories or different character lines.
Yeah, all that's really needed is an epilogue, and they're good, and that's it.
Wow.
So that's where the manga is right now as well. So that's kind of where we're at, and that makes so. With that being said, guys, for those of you watching on YouTube right now, on Patreon, I'm gonna leave the comment section open, but Attack on Titan Shingeki no Kyojin is the only YouTube video, only YouTube series where I don't allow any comments at this point, like, because there's just, unfortunately, there's just a vast group of people that go from channel to channel and just start spoiling everything for everybody. So unfortunately, we're losing all comments are gone. Yeah, so no comments allowed in this section. If you want to be part of a discussion, check out Discord. We have a Discord channel, and we also have the Patreon as well, where you can get the full reactions. And that also keeps in mind that copyrights are extremely difficult with Attack on Titan for whatever reason. For many
I can imagine.
It's crazy. I used to have the worst time. So, like, I think I gave up on season 3, putting it on YouTube. We're gonna try it again with a few more techniques that I picked up. But if it doesn't work, them's the breaks. Check it out on Patreon, okay? All right.
Support the channel.
There you go. Exactly. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into some. I think this is going to go until April. Somewhere around April or so, because generally speaking, that's when Boku no Hero, My Hero Academia picks up afterwards. So it's usually... we're gonna get Shingeki, then another anime, a high valued anime is gonna start up. And then right around the time Shingeki starts to end, this other mini series will end, and then Boku no Hero usually starts off like that. So
are they the same company, or is it just they stagger it because they're so
they
huge?
Stagger it. One of the reasons they stagger it, the other reason is sometimes because they're the same company like that. So
yeah.
But so that's my thought process is Boku no Hero is going to start off, and then Demon Slayer, which is the same company. They're gonna work something out, but I don't know. Shonen Jump is wild like that. It also depends on production time and things like that. So we shall see. All right, without further ado, yada yada yada. Let's get into it. Your latest reaction, the full reactions on Patreon, but our attempted YouTube edit on YouTube to the final season of Attack on Titan starts now. Oh shit!
Holy shit!
Seeing some shit today.
What? Ooh, 4 years.
This has to be the Great Titan War, probably.
The first one, right? The one in the before everything.
Right. Oh boy. Good. How convenient. What is up with these big heads again? Ah.
Oh.
So this looks like the original town before they built more walls.
Yeah, it looks like the innermost wall unit, wall city, and then they expanded on the island.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why they always would see like fucking seagulls from the beginning of the season, because they were that close to the ocean.
Yeah.
They just didn't know it.
Warrior.
I'm assuming Titan.
Oh.
Ah.
Oh, that's cool.
New intro.
Yeah!
Watch her be the first to get shot. Pow! Right.
再び巨人の力を取り戻せる保証はありません。
そうだ。9年前から始まった始祖奪還計画が返り討ちに終わり、超大型と 目型を失ったように。
Ah.
マーレの軍事力は低下したとみなされ、今日まで続く戦争の引き金となり、お前たちはマーレに忠誠を誓った戦士だろう。
Okay, so Marley is the bad guys, not the.
Right.
Okay.
Essentially, Marley are the Germans and Eldians are the Jewish. And look,
Oh my God.
Right. Look at that. That is crazy.
Wow.
Wow.
Holy
Sorry,
shit.
コルト、お前も獣を受け継ぐ身なら、いい加減に上に立つ者としての覚悟を持て。
So the armor
So maybe that's
titan,
the guy that's in the Beast Titan, right? Oh no, this is too long
He's talking
ago.
about Zeke, right? Yeah. Possibly.
But the 13-year rule. This is too
Right.
far back.
That's what I thought too, yeah. It's okay, Kaki.
Yo, she's got an ego.
Ah, called him.
Really?
分かった。
今だけ腕章を外すことをお許しください。
いいだろう。
Oh, so she might change into like a lower ranking
No,
officer,
no.
maybe?
No, they just wouldn't know exactly what she is. Like that.
Yeah, but if she's gonna remove her arm back.
Like that.
それも子供
Yeah.
年に来るようだ
So they're basically pulling one of those Middle East type tactics and shit. Like, yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, it's like a Trojan horse type of thing.
Yeah, or even like Hurt Locker and shit, or American Sniper.
バカい
Wow.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Oh,
やりやがった
perfect.
ありがとう。急げ。
She's a little psycho. Yo!
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow.
Wow.
Whoa.
He's different.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, maybe that's
That's
the
the
super
Chupacabra
short.
Titan.
Because maybe it's the short one.
これより豪華作戦を開始する
Wow, so that's the armored titan. Okay. Oh, now what?
I don't know. I don't think that's
Oh,
the Armored
shit.
Titan.
Wait, what?
Wait.
That's Zeke and that's Reiner right there. Okay. So yeah, it is about 13, well, maybe less than that.
Unless the rule is just fake.
Well, no, don't forget. Everybody had their entire minds wiped as well.
Oh,
So-
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Wow.
I think that's the Agility Titan.
Okay.
Remember the girl who was friends with
Right.
Historia?
Right.
And she turned out to be the small
Right.
Agility
The one that
Titan.
called-
I just
the one
don't think
that
she
called
put the.
herself Amir. Oh, look at that. There's
Oh,
the.
that's the creepy one.
Right.
The
Wow.
platypus one.
Right. Whoa.
Wow.
国際法を遵守して私に覆いかぶされば鎧を継承できると思った。
Oh, they have to tend to even the enemy wounded. I get it. Okay. I think that's true in real life too.
Wait, you guys got the Titans in? Okay, maybe not. Ah, they're about to drop a fucking
Air support.
Yep, nuclear bomb. Here we go. Oh shit.
It's what's his name? The Colossal Titan. Oh, look, there's the blueprints for the walls, I think.
Yeah.
The future walls.
What in the fuck though? What the fuck? Yo. Oh fuck.
Wow. Oh no. Oh no.
So that's Zeke and yeah, Reiner. Let's go. Ah, he controls them. Yeah.
He just changed their transformation like that.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Wow. Whoa.
Holy shit.
Let the bodies hit the floor.
Oh, they are screwed. Oh no.
Wow.
Oh. Oh, they're aiming for the next. They know.
All right, here we go. Beast
Oh
time.
boy.
質量爆弾の威力は十分だが高度が高すぎた半分は落下の衝撃で
Oh
死
wow.
んじまったまた壁かよ
More walls. More walls.
Titan.
Oh boy.
Wow. Whoa. Shit. Shit.
Oh my god. Like it's nothing, just
Whoa.
何を食らった
A big ass gun.
走行列車まだいたか
Oh, I bet the first one was a decoy.
Wow.
Well,
Yo,
now
yeah.
we know there's a weapon out there that can actually like hurt him really badly. The technology's out there.
What's crazy to me is that they are fighting so hard for so little. Like it's a small ass little island. Like,
Oh.
oh, nice.
He's like, I got you, bro. You son of a whore!
No, this is crazy. Look at that. Fucking
Holy.
destruction everywhere. All right, here we go. Zeke, what up?
He's like, come on, join the party. Let's go.
俺
これでようやく戦争が終わる
That's crazy. That is crazy. What?
What?
They were able to shoot off something instead. Wow. I guess they were able to get one shot off beforehand.
Yeah, maybe they just did it at the same
Right.
time. I thought, yeah, like you, I thought
Right.
something repelled it. And I'm like, what? There's like a repel
連合艦隊の壊滅を
titan?
受け中東連合はマーレとの講和条約を締結
Wow. Oh, is that the owl? I think that's the owl.
Wow.
Yep. There you have it, guys. That was the latest episode of the final season of Attack on Titan. Short but sweet. That was something. It was a
Packed.
spectacle. Yeah, it was
That was
very
really densely packed. And I think
Yeah.
they did a really good job with, I mean, like, I'm going to have to watch this over and over again. So they did a good job with having repeat viewers. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things like, gosh, there's so many layers to it and so many things we can pick from it. And I bet a lot of what we see is going to connect to stuff later on. We're going to be like, oh,
I've heard that.
yeah,
I've
that
heard that.
person. And
I definitely heard that this one is kind of a required reading for like even if you read the manga, it's actually a very good way of like picking little things out, and there's like foreshadowing you haven't seen beforehand. So and you know there's definitely a lot of references to World War I and World War II. There's particularly with those armored tanks coming in, like for anybody that plays a lot of those like first person shooter games, that's always like a big thing. It's like the slow moving armored tank. It's almost indestructible, as they would say. So I do like that. And then I feel like Fort Salva is what is the beginnings of the community that we see in the season 1, as we see the blueprints.
I think I changed my mind about that.
Okay.
Because it looked like the ships were trying to I think that's the most confusing part about this whole thing, is like, where are they? Like, okay, so they said it was a fort, and that this is my thought, because that landmass that has the town that we know of, that has like the concentration camp, and then you've got like all the blimps.
That's on the main island.
Was called. Yeah, so the main island, I feel like they might have built a fort on the main island, because I remember from watching some of the recaps that like the leader of, like, the king of Eldians, the Eldian king, right? Yeah. The Eldian king didn't want to fight. He didn't want to be in a war, and that's why he hauled ass to that Paradise Island. But I don't think they're on Paradise Island. I'm not sure. I might have to rewatch it again.
I want to say that they are, though, because the way it sort of pops up to me is the fact, from the beginning, the entire story opened up with like a seagull, and that was always kind of a weird thing. I'm like, why is a seagull like in the middle of the countryside or whatever, right? That, and the whole thing was Eren had his hand up there looking at the seagull and things like that. And I even think Armin had some sort of like idea of the fact that like he could smell the salt water, and he was wondering where.
I don't remember.
Like he could smell like salty air or something like that, and like his whole thing was like, look, beyond this wall, there's an ocean. I know it. I've never seen it, but I know it has to be true. And my deal is, I think the walls, particularly the Titan walls, with those original Titans on the inside, particularly, I think those Titans created a wall high enough that you couldn't see it anymore. So like the kingdom is so small, but what I will say is, I agree with you, is I think the founding Titans and all of those people, they're
the 9.
Yes, they're hiding somewhere right now. In all likelihood, I think what we're seeing is, in last season, we saw how Eren's dad, Girisha, he confronted them. They're somewhere getting ready for their sacrifice and all that. They got the white robes on and all that. They're somewhere completely different, making sure.
You mean that one family?
Yeah, Historia.
Historia's family.
Yeah. But
the thing is that they mentioned that there were multiple family lines, so it's not end all be all with just that one family. There are multiple family lines. And then another thought that just occurred to me was, if this took place on Paradise Island, then why didn't they maintain that as a stronghold? Why would the king escape to this place that was just hit to smithereens? And that that those Titans are already there, because let's say for instance, the Beast Titan, he as far as we know hasn't been on Paradise Island, and it isn't until last season that he arrives from the mainland. So I'm
my thought is the fact that they haven't established themselves yet. Or you know what, you might be right, is that Fort Salva is actually
on the mainland.
No, it's still on the island.
Paradise.
It's still on the island, but it's just a small little fort basically, and then deeper within the island is the actual I forgot what we called
I forgot what the kingdom was called too.
What the hell is the name of the
I just think of all I remember is Walrose and Walmaria.
Walrose, Shiganami district or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's where he was from. That's like the tiny little pimple on the outside of the wall.
So yeah, no, you know what? The more I think about this, because we got to remember is like, a lot of history where some people would get exiled and they would just be out into the desert for the longest time, and then no, but then again, see, the thing I was also thinking about is the fact that those concentration camps was happening on the main island, and they were injecting all those those people,
and then throwing the Titans onto Paradise Island.
Well, no, they weren't. They had to be on the mainland, unless the only other thing I can think of is the fact that so what we saw with Gridisha and all the owl, all those scenes, that was happening on Fort Salva instead. So what I'm saying is what we saw last season hasn't happened yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I definitely think that what we saw last season has not happened yet at this point in season 4's story.
Right, so they take over
pre that.
Right, so they take over Fort Salva and establish a base there, and then they do their whole injecting and all that other stuff. I don't know. It's
maybe Fort Salva is the base of this Titan kingdom. And it just happens a long while after that. And the other thing too is like what history is true that we have learned about last season.
That is a very good point. Because
people are getting their memories wiped, and there's a lot of people behind the scenes who know the truth and are manipulating.
That's a good point, because one person, the founding Titan, flourished in one history book, and then the other one was considered a devil and everything. So,
right. Yeah. And then also from last season or this? No, I think it was the second season. That guy, like around the time when they were trying to figure out where Historia and what's his name were, and so they found like one of the wall priest guys or something like that. He refused to talk, but he knew the truth.
Right.
So there are people out there that know that know at least some version of the true history of what the hell's been going on for the last 100 years or more.
I gotta say,
this is so complicated. It's like an onion. It's so many layers to peel back. 4 to 5
years ago, when I first started Attack on Titan, I thought it was gonna be really a basic ass story. Like I was like, look, Eden's mad. His mom got eaten. He wants to kill all the Titans. We're done. We're good. Like, little did I know that this was gonna blow up to something so like Game of Thronesy ish. And the biggest problem, though, is that I have is the fact that I want to actually dive deeper into the story online, but there's going to be spoilers everywhere.
That's what I'm so afraid of. Right? Unless you do like a really like detailed search and like no spoilers or spoiler alert, or if the person posting says like spoiler alert, skip down to the next part, then it's like, and that's really nice. But I agree, it's really hard to do research without spoilers.
But we'll figure it out one way after another. We have the Discord channel. We have and then the other thing is, like, I feel like some people don't really know how to explain things without spoiling something that they may not feel is a spoiler, you know? So that's another thing as well.
What do you think of the potential for this new cast of characters? These new, like, young, what did they call them? Cadets or something? Office? Yeah, like cadets in training.
I think, within... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
With any sort of story writing and screentelling 101 is that you always need somebody you can sort of vicariously live through. And essentially, these cadets are supposed to be the everyman people, are the people that we're supposed to be them, seeing what's going on throughout the world, because we already have our preconceived notions of who Zeke is, who Reiner, who Reiner is. We already know who all these people, we have these ideas of like, okay, they're either quote unquote good or quote unquote bad. And hence, similar to The Last of Us, you don't want to fall into that particular situation of like you're vicariously walking through the shoes of a bad guy. because that's the way a lot of people already see Reiner or Zeke at this point after 3 seasons. So those people, those cadets are kind of used more as a vicarious tool, so we can see that, okay, these people, the Marleyans or the Marley warriors, are kind of assholes, and then there's people that are so deep into being a warrior like Reiner that, you know, that's the only thing they know, that's the only life that they know.
Yeah,
you know, so we're trying to get like an innocence here of people that are like, oh look, we're like quote unquote dirty Middle Easterns or whatever, are what are they called? Eldians. No, because look, I'm joking, but at the same time, like every time they portrayed the Eldarin armies, why did they all have this very Middle Eastern appeal and like really darkened skin? But yet the Eldarin candidates are the Mutts. They were crossbreeding, but they were like lighter skin. I'm like, wait, what? Come on.
Well,
now.
they were also groomed by the Marley army, the Bob Marley army.
But they're not dark skinned. So the only thing I could imagine is because of crossbreeding. Like that.
Yeah, because they did mention that they were doing forced crossbreeding so that they could control the Titans as opposed and the important 9 Titans.
But then how come the founding family, the founding Titan, the royal family, they're all white as hell too? Like I'm like, that's the one thing that kind of stuck out for me, was like,
maybe originally they weren't, and maybe they were crossbred.
Maybe,
or it could be the classic "I'm royal, so I stay indoors and I don't work in the fields" type of motif.
Okay. So I don't have tan masks. Is that what we're saying? So they're not supposed.
They don't have farmers' tans.
Okay, got it. So that it's a farmer's tan. It's not a DNA. Like, because I can't be the only one that I was like, yo, a lot of the people getting wiped out here on the enemy lines, or the dirty lines, as they were saying, were like looking Middle Eastern or Indian, and they had the whole like hat on and
like
right. And I was like, wait a second. like, what is this?
Yeah, that's kind of a strong like modern day Middle Eastern war that we're going through, but then also nods to World War I, World War II.
Exactly.
That opening with the soldiers marching, that was like North Korea and the Nazi army.
That was the
right
Nazi
there.
Army right there. Like, yo, I mean, like just even in the preview that we saw, like I'm like, all you needed was a freaking mustache, and that was Hitler right there. So
yeah, right.
So that dude was like legit Hitler looking. So anyways, though, I
have another question.
Okay, go for it.
So because like we haven't done a video together with Attack on Titan. I've never done any of the previous episodes, so I'm not sure if you've like talked about this before, but especially now that we're going backwards kind of again, what do you feel about like the way that the story is rolling itself out? Like we start in present day and we just it seems like we just keep going more and more backwards. My thought about it is I'm really torn on whether I like it or not, because I find it, like in this episode for instance, I find it very difficult to keep up with like name. That's also like I haven't been refreshed. I haven't like binge watched it recently, which I probably should have. But I feel like there's so many important details that I feel like sometimes it's sometimes I feel like sometimes it's to the detriment of the viewer. It's not beneficial. Because even though we're learning new information, there's so much information that like is compounding that it's really hard to keep track of it. And I feel like sometimes the balance is off. Like this episode, I kind of feel like the balance was off, and I was really struggling to remember who's who and names. And I mean, just the fact that we're struggling to figure out where this battle was taking place, I don't like that. I wish it was clearer.
I understand where you're coming from. I would say at this point in time, because it is the final season, I'm fine with it. It was like when this show, like I said, when this show first came around, I was like, oh hell yeah, fucking Eren, kill all the Titans, fuck all these motherfuckers, like that. We're done. Like, I'm good with this. I was good with that very flat, that particular story. I'm like, all right, there's a few other Titans around. We got female Titan, we got an armored Titan, but it's all about Eren and his team and how we're rolling out. But what I feel is the fact that the creator just didn't really know exactly, like, he had the end game of how he was going to end it, but didn't really know exactly how he was going to tell the story out. Now, had he understood where he was going, because you got to remember, this anime blew up, this show blew up even before he even had enough for a second season. So like, he was still writing it out. Now, had he kind of known what his end game was going to be, then I think we would have had better things in place, a little bit easier to sort of foretell the story. But given the fact that it's its final season, I'm okay with the pacing. It's a bit of a challenge. You gotta read up on a lot of stuff, and I don't really know if I really like that, but at the same time, I feel like there's so many other things out there that are so simplistic. For example, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is right now the #2 most watched movie in Japan of all time. It's like only
I haven't seen the movie yet. I really want to see it.
It's a few $1 million away from knocking out Spirited Away. And while that's great, but there's nothing else out there to compete with. Yeah. While that's great, at the same time, I can't shake this feeling of like, yo, this is a basic ass story. Like, I'm like, this is like a basic ass, like, it's a boy, tragedy happens to him, and he has this humongous task ahead of him to take out the top dude. Very similar to Eren, very similar to Kenshin, very similar to Midoriya from My Hero Academia. It's the same, pretty much the same goddamn plot. And as this main character keeps going, they meet more people, they join their team, and then we basically get this lovely ending at the end or whatever. So it's
very linear. Yeah, it's very linear as opposed to Attack on Titan, which is not linear whatsoever.
So that being said, I'm kind of appreciating the non-linear aspects of Attack on Titan at this point, because I feel we need more things that are shown in that sort of art form. And it, like I said, it makes it kind of interesting that we can actually sit down and have a discussion about that. You know, you can't do that really with Demon Slayer. You can't do that with My Hero Academia at this moment in time. And you know, I think that's also the beauty of Japanese animation, is that, you know, when I was growing up back in you know, a lot of those animes in the 80s and the 90s that came out, none of them made sense. Like you just kind of watched it for the art form.
First thing I think of is Cowboy Bebop.
Yep. Well, and even Cowboy Bebop, you can watch all those out of order and it'll still for the most part make sense. But yes, that main wrap-up story of whatever was going on, you're like, wait, what was happening? Did everybody die or everybody live? Even the original Sailor Moon story, all the girls died in the first season, but it got changed around in the American version, so they got reincarnated or they got brought back. But yeah, for the most part, they all died in the beginning. So you know, there is a particular old school Japanese art form that I like about that they're able to kind of take risks, and it's not a thing of like, we're not going to have a Batman in Shingeki no Kyojin, like, meaning like Batman's going to be around for 75 years and there's going to be like different retellings of the story. This is it. The one Attack on Titan story we get, and then that's pretty much it. We won't, unless, you know, they decide to bring it back with a retelling somehow. So I'm at first it was kind of annoying, but at the same
I've had Star Wars on the brain, so trying to unpack and reorganize the Star Wars timeline, and so like that's kind of what made me think of this question, because like I find it a lot easier with Star Wars, even though Star Wars was very out of order. Yes. And I just feel like I kind of wish Attack on Titan was easy like that. or a little bit easier than that. But at the same time, I understand that like the fact that it's more challenging makes it more unique, and that is what is special about it.
I think that's the thing that's interesting, because you know, I think also with us watching, because there's not really, you know, a good guy or a bad guy now at this point,
right?
You know,
yeah,
but that in you know, reality of things, that's kind of what war really is. There's not really a good guy or bad guy, and you have these badass warriors dropping down from helicopters and everything, or planes, but you know, they're not necessarily good or bad. They're just fighting for what they believe in, and that's the reality of war in itself. So you know, if it was more linear, you have to have an ultimate bad guy and an ultimate good guy like that. So it does kind of make you think, and I do like kind of like that challenge of war. Star Wars had the benefit of being, you know, it was like 30 something years until we got another trilogy, or you know, new movies like that, and then before that it was like a 10-20 year gap before we got the prequel story. So Star Wars has this whole thing of just being these 3 movies that created this lore around it, fueled by video games, books, toys, things like that. And they were like, how can we make more money off of this? Okay,
right.
Prequels, let's go with the sequel trilogy. And each generation,
I don't think Attack on Titan's gonna do that.
Right. So that's what I'm saying is like Star Wars, the reason Star Wars seems so complicated now is because we have something 8-9 movies from different generations and time periods. But when it first came out, that was real simple. Like, you know, it was a done deal. But there was so much other supplemental material after that. So, but yeah, I definitely don't think the one thing I've always sort of respected about the Japanese art form and with the anime and manga is, generally speaking, it's like, yo, one writer, one artist. When you're done, the story's done. That's it. Like once that artist is gone, they're pretty much not going to bring it back ever again. So opposed to, like I said, Batman or Superman, you know, it's owned by the company, not by the artist.
It's a good thing and it's a bad thing, because I wish they continued Claymore. Whoever was in charge of that, they just stopped Claymore, and that was such a good anime. And then I had to the manga, so I started over. But I didn't realize it was a manga because at the time I was such a newbie to anime. Oh no, am I
I don't know what happened. The connection got unstable. It's fine though. But I understand. I didn't know what you said, but I understand what you mean. So, anyways, guys, we're gonna wrap it up on this point. Thank you so much. We'll yeah, I don't know what's going on. See, you're breaking up, guys. Guys, we'll talk to you on the next one. We'll see you next week for the next episode of Attack on Titan. Shinzo Sasugeyo!